Ta-da-ta-da, intro music. Hello, everybody! And in honor of Black Widow, I do a Russian accent. Yeah, still
Oh my
fits. We are here to talk about, as I said, the Black Widow special episode. As always, you are joined by me, Momo, Mel, Fezz, and Jang, and I'm going to stop the Russian accent. Format-wise, it will be very similar to our Loki show. Negatives, positives, anything else you want to comment in particular about the character of Natasha Romanoff? What we think might happen next with some of the characters that we loved in this film? Why is everyone laughing? It's so weird with video.
I'm not laughing.
No, because you just switched from Russian accent to non-Russian accent.
Oh,
It's
to
like,
be
okay.
frank, like it did turn a bit French for a while, and then
Yeah. I was so lost. I was
Yeah.
like, what is he doing now?
I have no idea what Mel thinks of Black Widow, so I'm gonna start her off. I'm gonna change it up a bit. I want everyone to give a quick one-sentence review and their score, and then what's gonna happen is we're gonna see if our score changes by the end of the episode as we talk and discuss it, whether it goes up or whether it goes
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like what you did for the first episode. Also, you also asked us to give us like a one-liner sentence, which I
We're
think
bringing
is a
it
good
back.
idea.
It wasn't successful last time, but it might be this time. So I'm going to start off with Mel because I have no idea what she thinks. Give us a score and just a quick one-sentence review of Black Widow.
if I were to give a score, I would say 8.5 for me, mainly because I am a
Ooh.
sucker for the power of love, family, and feminism. So yeah, that was what Black Widow was to me.
Mel supports uteruses being cut out. Cool.
Oh my god, I wasn't even thinking about that.
How about Fez?
I genuinely had a good time. It was so good to see a Marvel movie after I think 2 years. I had fun. It was entertaining. They had good messages. I do feel like they could have added a bit more for it to be a strong MCU movie, but overall, I still had a good time. My first score would be a 7.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I liked it. It was really good, but a few things were just a bit disappointing for me. Okay, I'll get into the reasons why I
Yeah.
didn't like it later. But
Okay.
yeah, overall, I'm the lower. I'll give it like 7.
That's still okay.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, it's not. It's not a bad score.
Last but not
So,
least,
yeah.
Momo.
Momo.
This is a Marvel movie, and that's the best thing I can say about it. And I guess at some point, it's the worst thing I can say about it. It's a Marvel movie. It's great to be back watching a Marvel movie. It's the most conventional, in that sense, Marvel movie. You have entertainment, you have you have heart, you have really good characters, and characteristic of a lot of Marvel movies, you have a weak villain. So yeah, I give it a nice
I agree.
7.5 out of 10. It's a Marvel movie. They've done plenty
Mhm.
of these. You've seen it before.
Especially since we've seen a lot of Marvel shows for the past couple of months, it's just really nice to come back to see a movie
Mhm.
by Marvel. I think that was something that really hit me 10 minutes into watching it. I was like, oh my god, I'm actually watching a Marvel movie with actual 2 hours, I don't know, like Marvel soundtrack and stuff. That was good.
Yeah.
It was absolutely great to watch a Marvel movie from the comfort of our homes on a 15
Oh,
or
yeah.
14-inch monitor. Besides that,
Not-
it's great to be back at the movies.
Yeah, that's this Black Widow was the first movie that made me miss the cinema badly. Like usually I'll just be like,
Same.
oh, like I'll usually be like,
Yeah.
okay, whatever, we can't watch it. But like this one I was like, oh my god, you need this to be in the cinema. It doesn't, like a Marvel movie doesn't feel right without cinema.
I just felt that the way Natasha was angry that her childhood was stolen, I was angry that I was robbed of the opportunity to watch Black Widow in the cinemas. I know that where I am, there's no lockdown or anything like that, but it's just that I think for like the world in general, we just don't have that youth packed theater anymore for Black Widow. It's such a missed opportunity, in my opinion. Yeah.
So I think you guys brought a lot of good points. I'm gonna pivot. We're not gonna go into our negatives yet, but was there a moment in the film that made you go, I wish I saw this in the cinema? For me, obviously, it was the ending. The power of luck is on her side because she's not supposed to die yet. She's going to die soon, but not now. Her time for death is not now. So she's narrowly avoiding all the debris. I was thinking to myself, this would be magnificent on an IMAX screen, and I think it's formatted for the IMAX ratio. It's huge. So yeah, that was the moment I was like, I wish I saw this in the cinemas. But I'll say one other thing. I'm happy that I watched this at home because I didn't have to wait for the post-credit scene. All I did was just fast forward.
Oh yeah, that's one good thing.
No waiting for me. But yeah, how about you, Fez?
I would say the scene that I wish I got to see in the cinema was like the helicopter scene when they were trying to retrieve their father Alexis out of jail. Just I think that whole scene, just in IMAX especially, would have been so good, but we can't. I think that would be the only scene I wish I saw in cinema.
Mhm. I think for me, it really hit me that I really wanted to see this in the cinema when what's that? Antonia,
Taskmaster.
Dracov's daughter, yeah, Taskmaster, when she came onto the scene, because that really gave me like it really echoed the scene in like Captain America Winter Soldier when Bucky first came in the middle of the road. And I was like, whoa, that entrance was epic. This machine like person is here. And I thought, oh, it would have been so badass to really see this in the big screen. And
I
I mean,
just want-
every fight scene, right? You definitely want to be in
Yeah.
the cinema for that.
I
Yeah, I
agree. It
just
would have
want
been a
to-
great communal experience.
Most of Marvel movies, what makes it cinematic is the score. And when you see it in the cinema, you can feel like the vibrations of the drums and
Mhm.
like and you can hear like everything on this loudspeaker
The
to make it.
bass, yeah.
Yeah, I miss hearing the score with the loudspeaker in a dark room on a big screen.
Yeah.
I think like that just makes it. I feel like my home cinema, I can't do it as well as other cinemas.
I really like the BMW chase scene. That one I really needed that to be in IMAX
Oh.
because that was the one I was just like, ayo, I want IMAX.
I think as well, especially because this might just be the very last time we actually see Black Widow. I'm like Natasha Romanoff because she's dead. So, it's I just feel like COVID really I know Momo hates the word COVID, but I'm just gonna bring it up. It's
I'm so tired.
inevitable, right? But because of it, this is the way we're sending Natasha Romanoff off, not in a grand way as it should have been.
Mm.
So I guess that is just meh to me, quite upsetting. Yeah.
This show is not sponsored by IMAX, but they probably should be sponsoring us because we absolutely love the format. It's
Mhm.
for me, it's the best way to watch a movie. Comically large screen, booming sound. Yeah.
Like,
So yeah, I guess.
Everyone going like, whoa, that's
Mm.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the end credits scene? I watched a YouTube reaction of it, of someone filming it in the cinema. And when they saw Hawkeye's face on that iPad Mini, you could just hear the audience go like, "Ooh." I don't know how they
That's
got
the
such a
lovely part
I don't know
about
how they got
watching
such an
Marvel shows.
unflattering picture. Yeah, I remember the Captain Marvel end credits scene. Everyone was like, "Ooh." Now we are gonna pivot and talk about the
Pivot.
negatives.
Pivot.
Talk about the negatives of Black Widow. Is there anything in particular that we didn't like? So I think Mel was the most positive of the bunch of us. So yeah,
I feel like I'm always the
was it that
most
you didn't?
positive.
What even in episode 3, you'll always come back to that.
Okay, so the first thing that I could think about from the very top of my head was that I feel like they really set up the foundation and importance of family between these four people. Just Yelena, Melina, and Alexis, right? But
Yelena,
then
Melina, Alexis. Say that 2 times. Yelena, Melina, Yelena, Melina, Yelena, Melina.
but
No, I just realized their names are so.
I know. Oh my god.
Yelena
okay.
Bolova, Maleva
Yeah.
Baklava.
But then towards the end, I just felt that when Natasha Romanoff went off to her own separate way, I just felt like there wasn't a big send off as much as I would have liked it to be. Like, I mean, we had that connection between Yelena and Natasha going, oh, I'm very sorry, my little sister. It was real to me too. But then when it came to Melina, I was just, yep, see ya. And I mean, I just wish there was something more. If it wasn't from Natasha saying like something, I know she's not big with speeches, but she could have at least done something to her so-called parents, or they would have said something back to her. I just felt like the ending was a little weak in regards to emotions.
And then we're gonna go to the person most negative now, Jang. What stood out to you that you didn't particularly like?
I'm not the most negative, but like yeah, no, but like okay, I got 4 things for you. Okay, first the
Whoa,
the four, the
whoa.
Okay, I
no,
got
okay,
the most negative, but I have a list.
okay. Wait, let me explain. Okay, so first was the Hawkeye scene. I think that was the only foreshadowing in the whole movie. I get that it's like in the middle of Civil War and Infinity War, so there's not that much foreshadowing. I was hoping that they'll foreshadow something more, but it was just Hawkeye, which is just that's the smallest complaint I have. And then the Avengers, yeah, Momo hates the fact that they said Avengers so many times. But
Avenger, Avenger. What you
Oh yeah,
doing,
I heard.
Avenger? You Avenger. Shut the fuck up. I get it.
yeah,
She's
but
not the Avengers. Oh my god. Calm yourselves.
yeah, but then they were just like Avenger, Avenger, Avenger. But then I was hoping at the end when she was walking to the Queen
Yeah.
Jet, I was hoping she'll say like, "Oh, Steve told me he's in Wakanda and they just froze Bucky or something like that." And then you just be like, "Oh, okay,
Oh.
okay, okay, okay." And then they meet up. Then it's like, "Oh," but then there's like, "I go save my friends." And I'm just, huh? They're so vague. But yeah, so another small complaint. Then Momo has played the Spider-Man game. So in that one, Taskmaster is a guy and he's a bounty hunter and he's really epic, right? And then in this one, she's like a robot. So like,
With a
uh,
chip in her neck. Yeah.
yeah. So she is supposed to be much more epic than that. So I felt that she was a bit like, oh,
Mm.
like okay. Now that they sprayed the thing in her face and she's back to normal, she's probably not gonna do much bad stuff. So, but I was hoping she'll come back again in like another movie, but
Mhm.
unlikely now. The other thing is, why is the red room floating? No, like I was thinking the red room would be like a really cool bunker or something. Actually, I thought the prison has more red roomy vibes, but why does the red room is a big floating thing that nobody can see?
Oh, they said it was like to escape their radar, right? So like
Oh
no one
yeah.
can detect them.
Made
No,
And
they are
sense.
Track them. Yeah.
I would like to make a counterpoint with that because I saw it as kind of like symbolism for Dreykov having somewhat of a god complex.
Oh
Hence
yeah.
Oh, I
his
see.
floating, yeah.
Because underground bunkers aren't cool, I think, anymore. So to have
I
it
mean,
just
we've
in,
already,
I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, that's interesting, smart.
yeah.
No, but I
Ah.
was like, how can no one see a floating, floating base? Like
You
they're just
think
like
like
he
yeah,
needs to be above the radar, and I was just like, yeah,
mm.
that's literally above the radar, but
You think Iron Man would have
Sure.
seen it or something, right?
or anyone, right?
Yeah.
Like a plane
A
or something,
plane.
just be like, what's that?
Or like Thor.
Yeah. Or
Oh,
even
mighty hammer.
Thanos' ship.
Oh shit, floating fortress.
Brother, what is this
Exactly.
floating fortress?
I feel those are very nitpicky. So let's see what Fez didn't like about Black Widow.
Personally, I wish from every character there was more character development, especially from Natasha. I felt like she didn't really have much character development from the beginning to the end of the movie. I really wish the storyline was stronger. I felt like it was slightly anticlimactic, like when it ended. I was hoping for a bit more in terms of the storyline. The pacing was generally all right, but I had real problems with the pacing issue in the scene in the red room where Natasha confronts Draco. I just felt that the reveal scene was really cool. I liked that a lot, but just up to there, the pacing was just all over the place. When they were just talking, that moment should have been powerful when the villain should have revealed something or Natasha would have explored more, developed the character, but it just ended up them just talking, which I was quite disappointed in. Personally, I felt there was a missed opportunity to incorporate and use female empowerment between the widows. I love seeing the widows. I thought it was so cool, but I felt like they didn't use it enough in the storyline to show female empowerment. And the fact that this is a female empowerment movie, I just felt like that was lacking a lot. So I was disappointed in that. I also the villain, Dreykov and Taskmaster was really weak. I wish there was a bit more to them. And my last point, oh no, I have two more points, is I wish we got to see Red Guardian more in action because he was just like the jokester. Like whenever he was in the suit or he was fighting, he would just always fail and tumble and get beaten up. I wish we got to see him more in action. And I was aware on Twitter about the post-credit scene and people were really hyped about it and excited. But when I watched it, I was quite disappointed in it. I agree with Jang. It was only at the very end when they revealed Hawkeye that I was like, okay, now I care. But I was quite disappointed in the end of credit scene. I think because I just didn't care about Valentina and we don't know her that much. So yeah, that's my negatives.
Female empowerment more than other females beating up a female. So yeah, that's your female empower moment.
Like I totally get what you were trying to say because that was what I was trying to say as well. First, they really built this sort of foundation or like this theme almost of feminism and female empowerment. But though I feel like they could have done it stronger, because I felt like with the other widows when they came on, they were just standing there. And then
Yeah.
and then after that it was like, oh, I got your back, and it was just
Yeah.
that. And it just felt like I wouldn't go as far to say that it's almost as if it's tokenism, because we know that several movies they do this whole female empowerment thing just for the sake of tokenism. But I
Mhm.
appreciate that with Marvel, they're actually genuinely trying to reach out for more diversity, because you see different races amongst the women, etc. But they do need to work on developing each and every one of the widows. I just feel like a stronger sense of
Yes.
bond for sure, like what you said. But good start. Not complaining as much, but yeah, they definitely need to improve. And another thing with the Red Guardian as well is, God, he was much stronger and intimidating in prison. And then
Oh
he
yeah.
came out and like, bro, you can't fight. You don't know how to fight. Like you just said that
Yeah.
Captain America was your greatest adversary, and then you're there just getting flung around. So yeah.
I'm gonna talk about a larger point. Two
Mhm.
things in particular. The first thing is this movie should have come out a long time ago. This was way too late for this movie.
Mhm.
Would you guys agree with me on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they did nothing. You end this movie on a sad note, like the ending scene with the end credits. You're like, oh yeah, Black Widow's dead. I forgot. Oh, that blows. But yeah, there's nothing here that adds to the tragedy of Natasha Romanoff gone too soon. It just kind of not angers you, kind of annoys me because if this movie came out post Civil War, before Infinity War, and then we got to incorporate some of her family, the new family in Infinity War and Endgame, although those movies are like overstuffed as is, like just brimming to the point of exploding. I don't know how they would have incorporated that, but I would have loved to seen a portal open up and then you see her family there. Like we fight for
Oh
Natasha.
yeah.
You kill. That would
Yeah.
have been a beautiful
Oh
way. Or
yeah.
you
Yeah,
put
that would be good.
them at the funeral. You have the double funeral, one for Tony, one for Natasha.
Yeah.
Then you have her there. I'm pretty sure they've planned this movie for a while. Or was
Mhm.
Scarlett Johansson just like, if you're gonna kill me in Endgame, you gotta give me a movie now. And they're like, fine, fine, fine. We'll put something together. Oh wait, what? Loki said something about Dreykov's daughter in the first movie. Okay, there we have
Oh
our plot.
yeah.
You wanna know about
Yeah.
Budapest? Fine, here you go. Oh, I don't know. They wanted to kill Dreykov's daughter. So in many ways, I guess it feels like an afterthought, but at the same time, of course, they're trying to set up new stuff. And speaking of this
Mhm.
film being more of an afterthought, a lot of the problems I had are quite similar to yours, especially with Dreykov. That moment should have been something really powerful because we've
Mm.
always heard about
Mhm.
Natasha. I have read in my ledger, in Age of
Yeah.
Ultron,
Mhm.
when you see her
Mhm.
flashback scenes. This should have been a moment, something really powerful. Natasha or the other Black Widows fighting against their oppressor, really, if anything.
Mhm.
It should have been something that just floored me. But rather than, I'm not going, oh yeah, Dreykov, suck it, bitch. I'm going, oh yeah, Scarlet Black Widow, you go, girl. So it should have been more of both, I guess, amplified. Because yeah, Taskmaster, I didn't really care for. I thought she was fine. I thought, yeah, okay, cool, just a big bad kind of thing. I thought the twist was quite nice. First thing that came to my mind wasn't her gender. Just like, what's wrong with your face? Oh God, what happened to you? I
Mhm.
should have seen that coming. But yeah,
Mhm.
well done, well done. I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, just Dreykov was just kind of this annoying Russian. He wasn't even
Mm.
a fun Russian like in Tenet. Like "Yeah, you don't get. He's not even hamming it up. He's just there being like, oh yes, I control everything. You
His
smell
ex
me, you can't
yeah.
kill me. So it's
His
like
Mhm.
accent wasn't great either. I'm so
it's not even
sorry.
great. It's just you either go all the way or you do something really powerful, right? Kenneth Branagh, Sator, he is like a ridiculous villain, but he just hams it up with that Russian accent that makes it feel,
Mm.
I guess, somewhat fun. So yeah, Dreykov and the fact they didn't set this up or use the magic of the MCU is the interconnectedness, right? So you think
Yeah.
they use that to their advantage, but this felt like a phase one solo movie. And in some ways that
Mhm.
helped it, especially with the more emotional moments. But
Mhm.
yeah, those are my two overarching points.
Mhm.
I just want to add also to Momo's point, like I do also agree that it was quite late for them to release the movie like now. I don't know why it's released now instead of like post Civil War before Infinity War, because when I was watching interviews for Black Widow, Kevin Feige really mentioned that they specifically planned this movie right after Endgame. So I just want to know more from, like, I don't know, the producers. Why now? Like, why after Endgame? Because it's kind of confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, especially with that post-credit scene that we saw of, Natasha's grave and Yelena visiting, and the thing where, oh, Hawkeye killed her, so do you want to avenge her, Natasha, right? That would have been really powerful to have before Infinity War, because it would be like, wait, what? Like how did
Oh,
that
I get what you mean.
happen?
Well, that wouldn't make much
Yeah,
sense. No, that's
yeah.
ridiculous. What are you on about?
No,
No,
because it would be
that'd be
like,
nice. Yeah,
No,
I
it
agree.
Cool,
wouldn't.
yeah.
Part
That
of
would
the
be
okay, I was
cool.
rewatching that scene in Endgame. That is a powerful moment. That moment works because of the shock of it all. See, in Endgame, it's before that moment, before, like, the stakes are high, blah blah blah. Everything they do when they go back in time, to put it frankly, it's just shenanigans. A lot of it. It's kind of fun. It's very lighthearted. Like, oh look, we're going to the past. Ha ha ha. Loki, Hulk, all that good stuff. The scene where you see Peter Quill. It's a lot of lightheartedness. But that scene, the brilliance of Endgame is when she bites it. I was in shock anyway. I still remember. I was like, "Oh wow, I forgot this movie has stakes." Oh no, because a lot of
yeah.
as when they went back in time and Endgame felt like this kind of meta,
Mm.
beautiful way of looking back into the MCU, which was fine, which was great. But when she died, when Hawkeye and Black Widow, I'm getting a bit like emotional thinking about it. That beautiful moment about
Aw.
sacrifice, just bringing all the themes together, and this really powerful moment for Natasha as she yeets herself off the cliff.
Eat.
I don't know if telling us that she's going to die would have made that scene as effective as it is. But I see your point. But it would have made that scene more tragic. Everything in Black Widow, knowing, oh no, she has a family. No, no, no. So yeah, I agree with you. This movie would have been more effective, but I don't see the post credits
I feel like
working.
either way, it'll be like it's either effective back then or even more effective now. So you either have like one or the other. So it was kind of like, like what could they do? Do it now or release it before Infinity War? I'm pretty sure the committee probably had the same discussions that we're having right now. One small thing I wanted to just say before we move on to Jang's point, but Loki, not Loki, sorry, I almost called Momo Loki. Momo, you said something about how Avengers 2012, Loki was like, oh, can you wipe out that much red? Well, Natasha technically did. Her hair was red throughout the whole movie, but after defeating Dreykov, she bleached it, so she did wipe out the red. That's it.
And you don't wipe out that much red in your
I
ledger.
can with bleach. All right.
God's daughter. Loki.
How about you,
So that's
Jang?
your Endgame.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the actually what Momo said would have been really good if Red Guardian and Yelena was in the
And
Endgame portal
Melina, don't
scene.
forget Melina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
No, if they were
Melina.
there, right? We'll be like, who the hell is that? And then we'll realize in Black Widow, just oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That,
That'd be so good.
that that's exactly what my complaint was about, was because they set up this importance of family so much throughout the whole movie, and then we just never got to see Melina and Red. I always want to say Red Ranger. Why? And Red
Go
and the Red
Power Ranger.
Guardian and the Red Guardian just being there for Natasha. It was just it was just
Yeah, yeah. That's why it wasn't really like Momo said. It's like a Phase 1 movie where it's not really
Mm.
connected to everything. But if like they just they don't even need to show like Red Guardian come out of the portal or anything. They just need to like during that pan shot, maybe just have two of them come out there and you're just like,
Ah,
wait, who's
Wheeler.
that?
yeah.
yeah.
That would have linked it much nicer, but they
No,
I
because it would have been
know.
a beautiful moment in retrospect, like the family coming together after the death
Like Melina and Red
of
Guardian
Melina.
didn't even come to the grave. I was waiting for them to be at the grave because Yelena was there already,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
at least, I just, or maybe a picture of them
The whole
on their
family,
graves or
right?
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was not really satisfied with that.
Right there. It seems you have a lot of negatives, but let's try and look on the bright side of things. Let's pivot again to talk about the
Pivot,
positives that we
pivot
had. Where's that from?
friends.
friends.
Ah, okay. No, I was confused. What the
Me
hell are
too.
you
I'm
all
lost.
editing? Yeah, let's move on to the positives now. And we've mentioned this does feel like a Phase 1 movie, and I guess it does play to its advantage. But I think the star of this movie is really Florence Pugh as Yelena Bolova.
Agreed.
The supporting
Mhm.
Agreed.
cast all around, but she I can't wait to see what she does in the MCU, whether it be pop up in the movies. As we know, she's coming in Black Widow. She just has so much charm. She's
Mm-hmm.
charming, iconic, as Jang sent a video of Yelena Belova being an icon for 4 minutes. But more importantly, she can act the shit out of the dramatic scenes. As whether
Yes.
it's the scene, it was
Mm-hmm.
real to me when I saw the trailer. I was like, "What's wrong with your accent?" It was real, but yeah, that scene, that whole scene that took place in the dining room, the back and forth, Natasha going, it wasn't real, but you can feel her hurt. Even the scene where she's about to die and get a, what do you call it, lobotomy? Her head's about to get chopped off. This is how I'm going to die. She was the star of this movie in many ways. When
Mm-hmm.
we say Black Widow, I don't think we're thinking about Natasha Romanoff. I think maybe we're thinking about our new Black Widow, Florence Pugh, who is an amazing actress, especially in Little Women. I think that was the
Yeah,
first
yeah,
time I
Little
saw.
Oh,
Women.
I never saw Midsommar, but when I watched Little Women, she was the highlight for me in that film. So yeah, that's one. Um, Again, speaking about that dinner scene, that family scene where they're chilling in the cabin, I thought was
Mm-hmm.
the best part of the movie. It was definitely a highlight. All those actors, all four of them, I think three of them have Oscar nominations: Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, and Rachel Weisz. Sorry, David Harbour. You're
Oh.
pretty good in Stranger Things. Yeah,
Oh.
just acting the shit out of that scene. Loved the family themes. For me, the movie really stepped up when David Harbour came on the screen, when they saved him in the prison. That dynamic
Mm.
between the three of them, and we alluded to it earlier in the beginning. My two favorite jokes in the movie, the first one has to be the uterus one. Yeah, you on the time of the month? And then I got it cut out, just that deadpan
Yeah, no,
reaction. I
they
was
just
like,
reach in there and they just drag it all out.
Just
Like,
drop it all.
that was
Yeah.
okay, enough, enough. And then my other, the part that just had me laughing was when the helicopter just, boom, the way it was just filmed was,
okay.
the comedic timing was just on point.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing that really stood out to me was I like the ending in concept. I don't know if the execution was as strong as it could have been, but it wasn't this, oh, we have to save the world before it blows up. Ugh. There was no big final action scene. It was about, you know, vengeance, righting wrongs.
Mm-hmm.
In many ways, it was just a chase sequence, if anything, or escaping a ticking time bomb. And I love the Winter Soldier aspects that Mel talked about earlier when they started revealing the mask and we have a bigger plan. Oh yeah, those things are just right up my alley. I absolutely love that. So yeah, I'm gonna pass it over to Jang. What did you love about this movie? I was gonna say this episode.
This episode. Yelena, of course, of course. That one is amazing. The accents in the movie was really good. I actually liked
Yeah.
it. Like
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yelena and Red Guardian, good,
Yeah, agree.
and the action I really liked it. I don't know whether they had, in that time where they didn't release Black Widow. I don't know whether they touched up the
2016.
CGI, but it felt nicer. I don't know how to say. It just
Oh.
felt
Nice.
very smooth and very
Mm.
nice. It just looked really
I
good. So
see. Yeah.
I really liked the CGI and the action. Oh, and the explanations for a few things was good. Like the jacket. I
Mm.
didn't realize that jacket was the one that Black Widow wore in Infinity War. And then
When she wore
also
with the
they
blonde hair, yeah. That's when I realized. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, how could I feel dumb for not realizing it?
I
Right.
was like, yeah, you're like, what the hell? How did I not know? They explained Budapest, what Hawkeye and Black Widow did. They took down the Red Room the first time. So I was like, oh, okay. So there
Hey,
were
could we
some
get Jeremy
good
Renner?
explanations.
Should have gotten Jeremy Renner. That would be nice.
Yeah, yeah, they should have got him. But yeah, but but they
We have an
still,
iPad
yeah.
mini of him.
That's all we
Yeah.
got. Just
Yeah.
nah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was much funnier than I thought it would be. I don't know whether it's just me, but I find like Russian accents like really
Objectively
like
funny.
it sounds
Yeah.
no, no, it sounds scary, but then when they say things like fluffy rabbits, and then like it's just like it's like something so nice. Like what the
Yeah.
hell? Yeah, maybe it was just me because I don't know any Russian people, but it's funny to hear scary Russian accent then say something nice.
Just to round off your points, it's a Marvel movie. Funny, good action. You get some great heart. What more do you want when you go to the films? How about you, Fizz?
Kind of repeating most of your points. The acting in this was amazing. This Florence Pugh and
Fizz.
David Harbour really stole the show. They brought a lot to their character, which I really love a lot. I agree with Jang. I love the comedy. I thought the comedy was written really well. My favorite comedic scene in it was when they named the pig Alexis. I thought that was so
Oh,
funny and cute.
Yeah.
That was so
Mhm.
you
cute.
see the resemblance.
Yeah. I love the fight scenes. I think the fight scenes were well done. And some of the scenes, like for example, the first scene with Natasha and the taskmaster, as well as Natasha seeing her sister. I love how coordinated it is, like when they were manipulating each other's actions. I thought that was so cool and it was so slick. I really loved that a lot. I really love the lighting of this film. There were so many shots where they used the sunlight to like show the characters in the scene.
Mm.
I think the message of family was done really, really well, and it's shown a lot and executed well with the dynamic between the four of them together. Like the four of them together had such strong character dynamics. They were connected really well. You can feel the strong bond that they have, even though they haven't seen each other in ages. I really love that. And oh my god, that opening credit scene was, I love the opening credit scene. I
Yes.
think I
Yeah.
wish I saw that in the cinema because it was just such
Yeah.
a good way to show how broken and twisted Nat was and how they trained the other widows, as well as seeing like a mixture of her childhood footage, which we see footage of them at Christmas, as well as kind of glitching also to how the girls are being manipulated. I thought that was so good. Along with the music, the Smell Like Teen Spirit cover, it was such a great music choice with the violins. I think that was a scene I really wish I saw in cinemas. But yeah, that's my positives.
That was something that I really took note of as well. The opening credit scene. I am not one for credit scene, whether it be the ending or the openings, but this one was really well done. The music choice, I think we've mentioned it when we were doing our review with Loki as well. Just the music just keeps getting better and better with Marvel, especially. And I loved how they used the opening credit scene to kind of use it as a time skip kind of thing
No one
from
wants to see
Natasha's
like
childhood.
yeah.
Exactly. So they really cunningly put that entire growth montage in the opening scene and then skip it to 21 years later, which was just wow, that was smart. So I really love that. I'm just going to echo a lot of the points that you guys have already made earlier. The dinner scene was definitely one of my favorite scenes. Yelena definitely stole this entire movie for me. I mean, Scarlett Johansson and Rachel Weisz for Melina, they both are incredibly badass. I love them, but Yelena really brought some spice to the table, and I just loved her sass. She naturally oozes sass. I love that. And Alexis, he gives the whole comedic dad effect, which I think is fitting, especially since this whole theme is about finding family and being in the family. So he's that dad. And he even had the dad bod for it. So that was really funny. And something what Fezz brought up earlier was how the family, the four of them had such a really good bond, and it really showed in all of the scenes that they were in together. The chemistry was really well done, and I love that there's family squabble even during the fights as well. Like, hey, don't slouch, or what are you gonna do? Like, don't do that. Like, it's I love it, and the way how Melina took on a mother role immediately as well. I just love that. And the running joke as well. Momo, you've mentioned some of your favorite jokes. Joke about how Natasha had those funny poses and she even tried to do it at one point. That was funny. It was like really calling her out for it, kind of breaking the fourth wall or something. I really like that. And yeah, there's also the scene where Melina and Natasha, they both pretended to be each other, right? On the way to the Red Room. And they had like this outfit change. So Natasha was wearing white and then she switched to black, which was Melina's outfit color initially, etc. I just thought it was kind of like a nice symbolism to show like through this outfit change, like mother, like daughter, they're one of the same person or something like that. I just thought that was kind of cute. And something that also really stood out to me, I think 5 minutes into, was, you know, the fact that most of the main characters are played by women, and I felt that that was really nice to see. I'm pretty sure it has happened before, but watching this movie, because I just felt like, wow, it's women all around. And even with the revelation of Antonia as the taskmaster as well, I actually expected it to be a man, but it's not. And I was pleasantly surprised to see that it was a woman. And it's a nice change as well, since Avengers, you know, it's heavily dominated by men, and you only have Natasha Romanoff in that team as the sole
the
woman.
guns.
And yeah, with her pew pew guns. And now it's just really cool to see that step towards representation, and not just for the sake of tokenism, as I've mentioned earlier. I love that at the end when Natasha was flying off or something. I'm gonna go save my friends, and they played the Avengers theme song.
Yeah, that,
Oh.
that was the
Thought
only
that
thing
was
that stuck out.
smart.
That was the only thing
Yeah.
that stuck out to me. Like, you're the Avengers. Wanted to bring up was you mentioned this film as it was cool just seeing women being women. One also thing this I think is the second film directed by women. A women what a woman. I said the second by women.
Yeah.
But
Right.
what I love about seeing movies where women are directing, I'm thinking of three movies in particular: Booksmart,
Mhm.
Captain Marvel, and Black Widow. With
Mm.
Booksmart,
Mhm.
you get this great dynamic between these two females, or just friends, just vibing for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
love in Captain Marvel. I didn't think the movie was that great, but I thought Lasana Lynch, who plays Maria Rambo, the older Rambo,
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Maria Rambo and Carol Danvers, that dynamic was the strongest thing in that whole movie. Just the scene, especially where she confronts her, oh, your name is Carol Danvers. I thought that was extremely powerful. And this one, you have the dynamic between Yelena and Natasha Romanoff. So yeah, I
Mhm.
just wanted to ask you guys. I
Mhm.
don't know, speaking of being a woman, there was a really powerful theme at the end, the world's greatest resources, girls, just
Exactly.
discarded away. I thought that
Oh
was really
yeah.
powerful. Yeah.
And he mentioned something about how there's too
Mm.
many of them, and I was like,
I
excuse
thought that,
me.
yeah, that was extremely powerful. Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna ask Jang about this, but what did Fez and Mel think about it? That theme in
Um,
particular.
I felt that, especially during that explanation scene. I mean, yeah, I do agree, and to a certain extent, with what Fezz criticized about how the pacing of that was a bit weird. But I was kind of really getting into the fact where it's like, oh, he just said that there's too many women, and like, you're just gonna discard them, etc. And the fact that his red room was floating, giving him that kind of god complex, and this entire scene was unfolding, it made me really think about the patriarchy that we have in
Mhm.
in
Oh yeah.
society in general. And I just thought that, well, it was really nothing much to dissect there. It was just like really blatantly thrown into our faces, like, hey, there are men who think that way, and and, like, in that sort of patriarchal system. And I just thought that that was kind of fitting, especially since Black Widow is such a
Mhm.
feminist symbol. Yeah. What do you think, Fuzz?
I do agree. I really do like when they were showing like how women were being manipulated and exploited, especially in that Red Room scene where Dreykov was saying like, "Oh, we recycle women from trash." I like that a lot. I do agree with Mel in terms of how they said that men is exploiting and picking women from trash. Especially that scene where Dreykov was quoting that he recycles women from trash. I thought that was a really good point, but I just felt like they should have expanded on it, whether it was a conversation between Black Widow, the villain, or showing just a bunch of females uplifting each other and supporting each other more. I just wish there was more of that instead of just that one line. Because I think for a film, it's important that we show female empowerment more instead of
Yeah,
just saying it and call it a day. So
I
I
agree.
just wish there was more of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. They definitely did have the foundation for it, but they just didn't wrap it up in a way that was as strong as I would have liked, but definitely a step
Yeah.
in the right direction, I guess. And yeah, that was such a good topic to talk
I
about
think
as
for me
well.
anyway, it's a lot
We
of
should
it
get the
is.
guy's opinion. Yeah.
I no,
Yeah.
you don't. No, you don't.
No, no, it's all
All I'm
good.
saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So really, for me, I don't know. I didn't feel they. The only striking theme to me where I went, "Ooh, that's an interesting point," was recycling women. Dreykov's whole blurb about that. I thought that was just really powerful. But I think it speaks volumes to just see women kicking ass, supporting each other, rather than it being explicit. I don't know, but I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to that. But I'm gonna give a question to Jang. I'm gonna start this off. So we all thought because of the comic books that Taskmaster was a man, right?
Mm.
But in this one, he's a female. But what does it say about us that we all thought that Taskmaster was a man? What does it say? Do you think it says anything?
Mm.
You lah, you're trying to find some reason. There's no reason. Like his costume was like
Yeah,
a chest
was
plate
it
and
though?
armor.
Was there?
That's why you look like a guy.
So that's what I'm trying to say. Is there something about our biases that we thought, this was a man?
No, but that's why it made
Was
it
it always a
cool
women under
that
the costume? Was it always under a women? Did Jang just die?
Oh, I thought
I,
I thought
He
I
got-
thought he was
he
I
got
thought
so
he was
triggered, he
thinking.
got sent to the fifth dimension. Like so.
I thought he was thinking, so I was waiting and I'm like, wow, he's taking a long time to think.
no, my Wi-Fi is acting weird. It's just that it looked like a guy, and in the comics he's a guy. So like I
We
like
all
that
just thought he was a guy. Yeah.
yeah. So don't need to go crazy like, oh my god, how did we not know? But like it's just like that, and I like that the twist that it was Dracov's daughter. I was like, oh,
That was a nice
that's
way to
cool.
tie everything
But at the
Yeah.
together.
same time, I was just like, yo, but Taskmaster is supposed to be a really cool guy in the you know,
Bounty
like bounty
hunter, right?
hunter. Then he like beat up like so many
Mhm.
people because he can mimic them, and
Mhm.
then he's this one is just a robot lady. I'm just like, oh, hey, but so it was like a good twist, but at the same time, I'm just like, oh,
Right.
you didn't
Yeah.
follow. So like I was like,
Right.
okay, yeah,
Understandable. I mean, but the fact that you pointed out the costume, I mean, that really just goes to show how society is so used to seeing how women are portrayed, especially in superhero movies. I think Scarlett Johansson, she's always been a target for this one particular question about her outfits in
Oh
interviews,
yeah,
whereby
I've
interviews
heard
are always
about it.
asking, so do you wear undergarments while you're, wearing your latex outfit, blah, 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 because women outfits are generally so tight fitting in movies, etc. But then now that we got, Antonia, she's not in a tight fitting outfit. She's in like a regular fighting outfit that if you want to fight, you wear an outfit like that. And yeah, the fact that we were all thinking, like, aside from the comic book readers who were specifically expected it to be a male, but everyone just automatically thinks it's 100% a male. Like and to the point where I'm actually really shocked that it was a female. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I just want to add also in terms of like the casting. I mean, like, look, generally Marvel does a good job with casting, but sometimes like they kind of mess it up, especially in Doctor Strange with the Ancient One, where in the comics the Ancient One is supposed to be an Asian man, but the fact that they whitewashed it, I just don't understand. Like sometimes their casting, which they recognize the mistakes in that, which I'm happy, but like, yeah, I just think the casting sometimes is just
I think
Mhm.
they've covered that. They do regret the decision. In the Doctor Strange movie, where you thought the Angel was a old Chinese guy
yeah,
or Asian man, he was there, and then
oh
you
yeah,
have
yeah, but
Tilda
then
Swinton. Hello, it's
yeah.
me.
It's Tilda Swinton, yeah.
But yeah, that's I agree. I agree.
Mhm.
That's a good point to
Mhm.
bring up. Although I say I think Tilda Swinton was really good in that role, especially the scene where she's
Mhm.
about to die. So yeah.
Mhm. Oh, one last thing about the Taskmaster as well is I like that she was capable of copying anyone's fighting style. I mean, like none of you watch Naruto, but we have like a ninja that is able to copy different like techniques. So if any of you listeners are Naruto fans, yeah, I'm here. But I just thought that that was cool, but at the same time, like it made her really OP. But the way they defeated her was so not OP level. Like it was just so anticlimactic, in my opinion. So that's just something
yeah,
I wanted to shout
exactly.
out.
Mhm.
They just locked her in a room, and then just like, oh, easy, and then they just ran
Boom,
off.
boom.
It was even that. Or like they sprinkled powder in front of her and they're like, oh well,
Yeah.
yep, done.
Ah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like ayo, that's why I'm so sad because I love Taskmaster. He's in like
I mean, mhm.
is he's in some animated I forgot what name of the show. I've seen him in other shows and in Spider-Man, and he's
Mhm.
epic with the sword and everything, and he copies people exactly, and you're like, oh, but then in this one he's just like that.
The
So
thing is, I'm pretty sure this conversation happened in 2013. Someone was probably upset about the Mandarin, but I think the twist is interesting. It's the thing about that Mandarin twist in Iron Man 3 is I think it's a good twist, but the issue is when you have Ben Kingsley, who is one of the best actors, I think, of our time, and you have
Mhm.
his amazing videos. Do you guys remember those videos in Ready for Another Lesson?
Yeah.
Fortune cookies, they look Chinese, they sound Chinese, but they're actually an American. He was so menacing. The scene where he shoots the president. President, tell us I'm gonna count to three. If you don't call, 1, 2, 3, boom. You'll give me no warning. He was. I watch those scenes on YouTube sometimes because he just acts that he's menacing, scary, villainous. But then you get Guy Pearce in his fire-breathing dragon doing the "Whoo, I am the Mandarin." So I can people who love the Mandarin are probably disappointed in that. But now, what's happening in 2021? Can anyone tell me what's happening now in 2021? The
what?
Mandarin, the actual Mandarin, is coming back in
You
Shang-Chi, correct?
answered.
So
Oh
No, yeah.
shit! Yeah, 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 yeah. He is. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
Yeah,
forgot about
sure,
that.
and
yeah,
this
yeah.
time they actually yeah. So my point is, if people who are disappointed in Taskmaster, I don't think it's the end. They could probably incorporate the original Taskmaster, bounty hunter guy somewhere in New York. So I would say to you, keep your hopes up.
For Taskmaster, I think that it's more for the comic book people. Like that's why like the Mandarin fans or Taskmaster fans, like they will get triggered. But like if you're just a normal
Yeah,
person that doesn't know anything, like if you just
it's
see
fine.
Taskmaster
It
like
works
that,
great. Yeah.
it's yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Let's talk about the main character in this film, Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff.
Oh my god.
So
Okay.
we've talked about Yelena, Red Guardian, Alexei, everyone except really Natasha Romanoff. And this is, as Mel I think alluded to, this is probably her last hurrah, unless they want to make a sequel, Black Widows or Black Widow 2. I don't know. But
Mhm.
yeah, so we've had, I think, one of the best MCU characters. This is a great um for her time to shine, I guess. Her in her
Mhm.
solo film with her
Mhm.
family. That scene in Endgame has a lot more weight now, I'll say.
Yeah.
Although you're kind of screaming at her when she goes, I used to have nothing until I got this family. Oi, old family, howla! So, yeah. So we've seen this incredible progression from Iron Man 2, where I guess she stole the movie, in my opinion, anyway. That scene where she's going through everyone in Hammer Industries. The first Avengers, she was a great addition to the testosterone club, I guess if you can call it, full of men and this lone women that stands out. But I think the movie that really made you go, Black Widow has depth was Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Mhm.
Her
Mhm.
dynamic with Steve, where she opens up her vulnerabilities and lets her guard down a bit. Yeah, I thought that was absolutely the highlight for Black Widow, and when she became one of my favorite characters. And in Civil War, also she's great. The way what did she do in Civil War besides flip teams? She just switched teams at the end. Uh,
Yeah, she did.
and she stopped Black Panther, so that was funny. Yeah, I don't want to do this. Please don't make me do this. And she shoots Black Panther with her gauntlet. Infinity War, I don't think she did much. Endgame was also her shining moment as she delivered the ultimate sacrifice. And then we have her in Black Widow. So for some reason, I just went through the whole filmography of the MCU, which we're probably going to trim down. So I'm going to pose this question to Mel first. I'm just curious, prior to this, or what has been your favorite Black Widow moment in all of the MCU?
Oh,
Okay. Now I need to think about this. Like, um,
It's
yes, you go first. Let me think. Yeah.
my favorite Black Widow moment would have to be in Endgame, where she just broke down, where she really wants to save everyone, but she just broke down and she just was talking to Steve about how like she didn't have anything and then she has a family. And it just shows that she really cares about other people. She really wants to save them
Mhm.
because like she feels like she's very fortunate she has the Avengers as a family, but she feels she can really feel the hurt from everyone else who lost their family. So that scene, I found that scene of hers, of that scene, to be my favorite because I think it was just
Mhm.
so how powerful and how she was so determined as a character. She wants to save everyone. Yeah.
just to echo what you said, yeah, but I agree. I never really thought about that. But compared to the other Avengers, you have Tony who kind of won the lottery where he's with his family, like, I don't care about anyone else. I got my family, all good. Then Cap is just more moping around trying to help people at alcoholic anonymous meetings. For some reason, Joe Russo is over there. But yeah, I totally forgot about that. That was the most
Mhm.
admirable trait of all the Avengers. That would have been a great solo movie if they wanted to make Black Widow 2.
Mm.
I would love to see
Yeah.
her putting the pieces back together. Some powerful stuff there, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna pass it to Mel now.
I think this is probably going to be like a really common answer, not something that's out of the ordinary, but I just really liked when she sacrificed herself in Endgame.
Mm.
And like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, the way that she fought to be the sacrificial lamb. I think, I mean, it's one thing to offer yourself to be the sacrificial lamb, but to fight to have that position was just something else. And because we've always seen her as that Russian spy, that ruthless, cold hearted, like they're supposed to be ruthless and cold hearted, but to the core of it all, Natasha Romanoff is a really soft person. Like she cares for people around her. And it's something that became especially prominent in this movie because remember when there was that one who was she? Like she was like another widow or something, but she was chasing after her and Yelena, and she fell. all the way and she was dying.
Yeah.
But she was like, I'll help you, like I want to be there for you. And that is essentially like what she is as a person. And I just really found that like a really admirable trait, which was something that Fezz alluded to earlier as well. How about you, Jang?
Oh, okay.
Any
Yeah,
favorite moment?
no, that's the funny thing. Like I was split between Fezz's scene and Mel's scene because I didn't know which one was the better one. But
We all really like Endgame.
yeah, I think the second the one where she died, that was that was probably the best, because for Black Widow she's always there and she adds stuff, but you're just like, oh, she doesn't have power, like it's okay, like because like in like Avengers you got Thor and everyone doing big stuff, and then she's just kind of there, so like you're just like, okay. But then when she died, I was like, oh no, she's important. I like her. Like I just like when she was gonna die, I really realized how much I actually did like her. Like
You
usually
never
I'll
know
just
how
like
much you love someone until they're gone.
yeah, exactly. So I was just like, oh, I like her. Don't kill her. So like, that was so that was the scene that got me. Yeah, that's the best one for me.
So I would agree with all of you. I think Endgame is probably one of the number one or number two best Marvel movie. But a moment I love is in the first Avengers when she's interrogating Loki, because it is impossible to outsmart the God of Mischief. People have tried in Loki and have failed. People have tried in all the Thor movies, but Black Widow, I guess, in Iron Man 2, say what you will, of course she looks beautiful as always, as Scarlett Johansson does. Her action scenes, especially in the Hammer Industries bit. But yeah, in that first Avengers movie, I guess that's where she's able to show, she's not all this I kick your ass. The intellect behind her charisma, her charm, just playing Loki like a fiddle, and how she's able to go from 180, she's crying, you mute, here's my bargain, you mewling quim, and she just turns her back and she's like crying, and she's like, oh, so that's your play. And then you have the God of Mischief going, huh? What the hell just happened? Loki means to unleash the Hulk. That is an absolutely brilliant moment in Avengers, and in the first Avengers as well. There's that scene where all the Avengers are bickering with each other, and then you have her in the background just going, "Shield monitors potential threats, you dimwits," and they just have all of them fighting. So she's just been an absolutely great way to spice up the dynamic of the Avengers. So I'd agree with all of you. Endgame was her swan song, if anything, but in the first Avengers, it's where she really shined. And then in the Winter Soldier, you really get more of her development. And when she got shot in Winter Soldier, I was scared for her.
Oh yeah.
The mask reveal.
Yeah, like the way how she outsmarts her opponents every time. And I feel like thank you for your cooperation, it's kind of like her catchphrase at this point, and it showed again after the movie this year. And like I just thought that was really funny, because she basically did what she did with Loki in 2012, which is funny. Cunning.
And another great line from the first Avengers is when she's with the other Russian people. What do you want? This idiot's giving me everything. I'm not give her everything. Buttons been compromised. Fight scene. But yeah, I guess we finally actually talked about Natasha Romanoff herself. Black Widow.
There was something I just want to say. It's like she is just so calm for someone whose past is always coming up to catch her. Like I think with Antonia really just is a physical embodiment of her past, basically, and how she has to face it, and like her mistakes and her like the actions for consequences for her past actions as well. And yeah, I just thought she's just really calm. I would be dead by now, like crying. Yeah, we talked about Natasha Romanoff. Yay.
We did it. The whole point of this movie. Yippee. So I guess with that we should probably wrap it up. I'm going to start with Jang first. Has your score changed, one, and how do you think the universe of Black Widow should expand? And would you like to see Natasha Romanoff back, even though it might be ridiculous?
Yeah, I think that's enough from her. My score is the same, and like after you guys talked about everything that's happened to her in Avengers, in Captain America and everything, actually she got a lot of story and development already. This movie is really like a extra kind of thing. That's why I felt like she has, like, in this movie there wasn't much on her, because we got everything we needed, which she didn't really. The solo movie was more for like Taskmaster and Yelena, all of them like really did much
Passing
better
the
here.
baton, yeah.
Yeah, so my score's the
You
same,
want to
still
see,
7.
you want to see more
Yeah.
Yelena? You want to see more Red Guardian? You want to see
Mm,
more Melina? Cool.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
My score is also the same. How about you, Fez? Is your score different or still 7 point?
Yeah, it's still 7.5 out of 10. Yeah.
My score remained the same as well. And as for whether or not I want to see more of Natasha, I agree with Jang. I feel like this is it. There's always this issue with bringing back the past and like, just leave it as it is. It's kind of like the new Toy Story movie. Just leave it as it is. We don't need to touch it
Yeah.
anymore. It was a perfect send off. And I feel like we could see her again. I mean, I'm really upset to see her go completely, but if we want to see her again, we could maybe do like a little bit of like cameos from like, small memories from like the past, stuff like that. So that would be one way. But
She has to show up in the Hawkeye show, I hope.
yeah. So how I think Black Widow, the universe of Black Widow might expand in the future is because I think there was an interview, like an article that was released like 2 hours ago now, Screen Round, that said that Harbour told Insider that he wanted to reprise his role of the Red Guardian in order to avenge Natasha. So could we see a possible Red Guardian versus Hawkeye in the future, like family versus Hawkeye? I don't know. That would be
I
fun
would
to
love,
see.
yeah, I would love that. I think that'll be really cool. I feel like if they want to just show up Natasha's past or like the characters that we saw, like Yelena, I think it should be
Mhm.
the Hawkeye show that's coming out next year. I just feel
This
like,
year, 2021, December, I think.
fuck, really?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Really? I thought it was
Hmm.
next year.
According to Google, no.
Me too. According to
Oh.
Google. I thought it was next year as well. But okay, that's cool.
Oh.
Wow, they're really pumping out stuff this year, huh?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
guess we'll
very
all
good
see
for
each
us.
other.
Yeah.
Our podcast. Last question for everyone. The Hawkeye show was like on the bottom of my list, honestly.
too.
I don't care about that guy with the arrow. He should have died.
Yeah.
But I'll
too.
say first the cast. Hearing about I don't know if any of you, I think Jang has watched Better Call Saul. The guy who plays Lalo is in that show. Lalo is amazing. One of the best Breaking Bad villains, and that's saying something. We have Haley Steinfeld, who's really good in
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
movies like 17 going on. No, that's the Zac Efron one. It's the one where the Edge
70,
of 17.
Edge of
There we
17, yeah,
go.
Edge
The
of
Edge of
17. That was
17.
very good. Yeah.
Great in that one. And then we also have Vera Farmiga from the Conjuring movies and Florence Pugh. So that cast got me excited. And then we have that end credit scene. And with that, it kind of just rocketed up. I need to see this. I don't care about Hawkeye. I just need to see Yelena Belova killing Hawkeye. Yay! And then he goes to Vormir and trades in. I give you Hawkeye, you give back Scarlet. Okay, we can.
Yeah, I'm really excited for Haley
No,
Steinfeld as the new Hawkeye because like, oh yes. Because like I don't know, I just really like her.
Well, out of all of the Avengers, Hawkeye was frankly not like at the bottom for me. Like it's not really like one of my favorite Avengers. But after seeing that post-credit scene, I am intrigued. I would give it a shot, and I'm definitely gonna check it out.
I mean, like, I know I will watch it, but I'm not that excited. I just got only like 1% excited after that end credit
Yeah,
scene of
me
seeing
too.
Yelena.
Yeah.
Other than that, and like I also agree with Jang, I'm very excited to see Haley Steinfeld as like the female Hawkeye. But other than that, I don't really care. The
Well-
other Marvel and TV shows that I'm more excited about than
Well,
Hawkeye. But I'll still watch
I
it.
assume she would rather watch a Loki season 2 any day.
Yeah. I mean,
True, yeah.
since I'm also doing this podcast, well, I have to watch Hawkeye now. Like,
Good job
Well,
now.
so I guess with that we have wrapped up this Black Widow discussion.
oh, it was a fun episode. Yeah.
It was a nice pivot again. That seems to be the running
Pivot.
theme. I
Yeah.
haven't seen Friends. I only watched that trifle bit, which is quite funny. But yeah, with that, thank you all for listening to this discussion of Black Widow. Do rate us on Apple Podcasts, like our video on YouTube if you are watching this on YouTube. Comment anyway to engage with us. We're on Instagram as well at What You Think Podcast. That's WATU Think Podcast. So with that, I guess that does it, and we'll see you all for the next time on What You Think.
Do
Thank you,
share our stuff as well. Yeah. Bye, guys.